evening from Nigeria, and whatever the time of the day is at your place, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I want to know how many people are in the chat right now. I want to know the early birds, those that come early for every event. Please let me know if you can see me or hear me clearly. Let me work on this orientation just to ensure that it is accurate. Okay, so let me know how many people are here with me in the chat. Just type a message and then I will be able to confirm that we are together. Say your name and say where you are joining from. Type your name and type where you're joining from. Hey, hello, someone is here already. Please, if you can hear me, respond with your name and what part of the world you're in. If you're in Lagos State, Nigeria, or your state, Nigeria, if you're from outside the country, please, I want you to type it in the chat so I can confirm that I can be heard and that the people that are with me are communicating. I can't see anything on the chat yet. If you are not enabling the live chat, please click on the live chat. That is how we are going to be able to communicate. You can also give me a thumbs up if that's what you want to type. That will help me to be able to at least confirm that we're together. So please type something in the chat, give me a thumbs up, let me know if I can be heard loud and clear. So can you hear me? If you can hear me, please type that in the chat or give me a thumbs up. I'll be looking at my screen to confirm. I'm looking at my screen now, but I cannot see the messages yet. So yeah, I haven't seen. All right, so now I'm waiting. While we're doing that, you're welcome to another chat with Temiloluwa. This has happened not very far from the last one, and I am personally excited about that because I know that it usually takes me some time to organize the next chat sessions, but this time around it took a deliberate effort to say that I want to make sure that we have it more consistently, and so I'm proud of myself for making that happen. Today we're talking about a topic that is very dear to my heart, something that always pulls at my heartstrings because it's something that I cannot but pay attention to every time I go out, whenever I hear people talk, whenever I'm in gatherings, even when I am online. I always notice it, even when I'm trying to just be about my business. And so I have decided to come and share the insights that I have garnered over the years on this topic. Many of the things that I have learned in my life, I actually stumbled on them from my experiences and the experiences of the people around me. And I put in extra effort to learn more about it, to see what experts and thought leaders in that space are saying about it. And I figured that it's not general knowledge. What you think what comes naturally to you might not come naturally to the other person. And so I decided that I would start to talk about it. And if you're not new to this channel, you know that I have already had 2 videos on the subject of public speaking. That shows how passionate I am about it. OG Designs and Innovations, thank you so much. You're welcome. I am super glad to see you in the live chat. So today, maybe I should do a little bit of introduction for those who might not know me. My name is Temiloluwa Grace Owolabi, and I am the host of Chats with Temiloluwa. I am truly passionate about educating people. I want to enlighten people and empower them because information is truly power. Information, when applied, it empowers people. It makes them to make better decisions from their information. And I realized also that, like I said earlier, general knowledge, what is important to you, what you know, is not what everybody else knows. is not priority to them. And so I want to make sure that the content that I create, which majorly centers on faith, personal growth, and professional development, I want to make sure that that knowledge is made accessible so that people can make informed decisions that will make the course of their lives to, yield positive outcomes. That is my goal. I also ensure that whenever I'm speaking to people, I'm as practical as possible, because we live in a world where everything happens based on the amount of knowledge that you have. If you try to be vague or ambiguous, you will not end up passing much information around. So I want to ensure that tonight as well, I'll be sharing practical insights. And why is this topic important? Many people think that when we talk about public speaking, you're talking about something for professionals, for those who do MCs, for presenters, spoken word artists, and the likes, but that's not the case. You have at least spoken to one person today. If that's true, tell me in the chat. You have spoken to at least one person today. If you've not spoken to anybody, perhaps you live alone or whatever, you've spoken to yourself, or you have spoken to God, you have prayed. This shows that communication is at the core of our human existence. It's important. We need it for our day-to-day interaction. You need it to express yourself. Have you ever tried to say something and you have been struggling to find the right words, or you are struggling to articulate it? You have a certain way that you feel. There is something in your mind that you're thinking about, but to now communicate it, that's where the struggle is. That shows the importance of public speaking. And in this day and age, is one of the most sought after skills. People who know how to speak, especially with articulation, people who know how to convince an audience, they make the best people at their place of work. They make the best marketers, they make the best teachers, they make the best preachers. In fact, anything that involves being good with words, you will be able to pass your knowledge across easily. People will understand you. Your relationships will even be better for it, because the other person does not have to assume what you are thinking. So those are many. Focusing tonight, I am focusing majorly on the mistakes that speakers make when they are on stage. I'm not doing this to shade anybody or to pull down certain people. I am only bringing our attention to this so that we can do better in our various places, in our spaces, wherever we get to talk. And like I said, you don't have to be a professional. If you're an MC, if you're a presenter, if you're a public speaker, this is good for you. But if you're a student, you need it as well. You will have to speak to your colleagues. You'd have to present your thesis. You'd have to defend your work. You'd have to communicate to your parents. You'd have to speak at any point in time, right? No matter where you are at whatever phase of your life, you will always need to communicate your thoughts clearly. So if you're ready, type it in the chat, say I'm ready, and we're going to get into it. I want you to interact, I want you to engage. Please, this is a chat. We're supposed to interact. You tell me what's on your mind, I tell you what I know as well. Feel free to ask questions. I'm ready to take all of your questions. We're here for a raw, unfiltered, practical session. So let's do this. Are you ready? I took some of them down so that I would not forget, because I honestly have a lot. These are things that I have observed. These are things that I have backed up with professional points of view as well. And so I want us to learn together and to make progress. The very, very first thing, the very first mistake that you are making whenever you speak to people is that you are facing one side alone. You might need a minute to think about that. Like, how does facing one direction count as a mistake? Now, an important thing that you need to know in your communication is that it's not only about what you say, it's about how you say it. It's about how you present your words. Your non-verbal cues are also as important as what you are saying. Many speakers, when they stand before an audience, they start to look in a certain direction, and they do that for the most part of their presentation. And this, you know what this does? It makes the people on the other side, the people you're turning your side to or your back to lose interest. They start seeing it as though, well, this person is not really talking to me. this person can't see me, I'm not making eye contact with this person. They get distracted easily. They start doing other things. And what's worse, you cannot even know because you're not looking at them. Another thing that's very similar to this is looking at just one person throughout. I know this so well because I have been in meetings where I get to be the one that they are looking at. Oh my God, my friend is here, Moreni KG Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Good evening. I'm so excited to see you tonight. All right, so when you're looking at just one person or looking at just one direction, and I understand that sincerely you're trying to look at people for moral support, you know that speaking before an audience can be daunting, so you're trying to look at faces that are giving you encouraging signals, but you can't do that all through your presentation, you can't do that all through your talk. You're going to bore the others. You're going to make them feel like, what's on that side? Why is this person always looking at this direction? So an advice that I will give to you, because we have to fix it, it's not just about the mistake, you have to correct it, is that you should take your time to sweep your gaze through the audience. In fact, as you improve on your non-verbal cues, you begin to catch the attention of those who might have drifted away during the course of your talk. So as you are talking, you can move forward to a certain direction. You see those people there, they will look up at you. You know, I had a teacher in primary school who used to do that because the class was fairly large and she could not catch everybody's attention at once. While she was teaching, she would hold her cane in one hand and she would stand on one edge of the class. And so at some point, she would just wave her hand with the cane like this. And all of us on that side will raise our head thinking that the teacher is coming to flog us. But later I realized it was actually a way to get our attention because she knew she couldn't be everywhere at every time, but she wanted to carry everybody along. So what you can do is you can move around to move from side to side. In fact, if you don't have to move around, you can also look up at a certain direction. Look at somebody in contact while you are talking. And then as you're moving to another point, look at another person, shake your head. All these things get the people to be involved, to be engaged, to know that truly this person is talking to me. What they're saying is directed at me. I hope that has been helpful. Let me know if you got what I said. The very next thing, digressions. I also know that this is a trap that many speakers fall into. You talk about too many things within a very short time frame that you leave your audience confused. Because what happens is that when you digress a lot, you leave many matters unfinished. Oh, so I was going to the market, and then as I was going to the market, oh, I met this guy. This guy called me on the phone. By the way, that guy works in an oil company. Do you remember that oil company? The one that folded in the year 2006. By the way, do you know that 2006 was also the year I got my first car? That car was very brand new. Do you know that car was the latest model in that time? Oh, it was gifted to me by my family members, very supportive family members. By the way, in our family, it's a very big family. We have lots and lots and lots of siblings. You're distracting us. We don't know which one to focus on. Do you want to talk about your job? Do you want to talk about your car? Do you want to talk about your family? And then at the end of the day, you say, you know what, let's just leave that. Let's just leave that. Let's just leave what? You've talked about like 4 different things. Which one do you want to leave? It's a big mistake that speakers make, and it ends up making the people lose interest because they are thinking, we don't even know where this person is going to. How can you address 4 different topics within one point and you did not succeed? All right, I think we're back now. So the important thing that I said, the solution for that is to hit the nail on the head. When you are talking about a particular area, make sure you try to finish it. And even if you want to digress, do not stray so far that you cannot remember where you are. This is a very important area to struggle with. So let me know if you found that helpful. Let me know if you gained anything at all. Please let me know at any point if you're struggling to hear me, if you're struggling to, or if the video is lagging so that I can see what I can do about it. Very quickly, the next mistake that speakers are making or that you are making whenever you're speaking to people for feedback. This is a big deal because in one of my videos on public speaking, I discussed the difference between talking at people and talking to people. There is a way you can talk to people that looks like you are just throwing the words at them. Oh, today I want to talk about sanitation. Sanitation is important. We need to keep our environment clean. We need to make sure that our nails are clean. We need to make sure that our environment is clean. We need to make sure that we cut the bushes. We need to make sure that, and then you keep talking and talking and you say, do you understand? And you don't even wait for them to say yes or no. Then you continue. So like I was saying, that is a big mistake. I've always wondered, how do you ask people, do you understand? And you don't wait for them to say yes or no. That is such a blunder. Whenever you're communicating with people, always get feedback. In between your talks, say, is anybody listening? Do you understand? As I'm explaining these things to you, I'm also asking, do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand me? Type it in the chat if you can hear me. Type it in the chat if you understand what I've just said. These things will help to facilitate engagement. That's how you will know that people are not just sitting down. They are actually listening. They are actually taking those words in. So whenever you go to speak to people, make sure that you talk to them. Don't just throw those words at them and leave, and you're not sure whether they heard or not. Don't ask unnecessary rhetorical questions unless that is part of your strategy to win their hearts. Unless you are trying to use that rhetorical question as a principle to get them to be curious. Other than that, make sure that your questions have a purpose. Don't just say it because, oh, it is a word filler. When I don't know what to say, let me just say, do you understand? Do you get? And you're not even waiting to see if they get or not. Another way to get feedback is to read the room. When you're talking to people, you should look at their faces. Do they look confused? Do they look like they are listening? Do they look like they are lost, somewhere in between? It looks like you all started together somewhere around the middle, they got lost, and then towards the end, they started nodding aggressively, and then you are thinking, did they get it? Did they not get it? If you're not sure, just ask. Honestly, I don't think there's any problem with asking. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Do you want me to say it all over again? You can even ask somebody to say it. Oh, that lady sitting over there, can you please recap what I just said? Do you understand? What did I say to do in this case? That's how you know that these people are following you. That's how you know that, oh, this thing is actually making an impact. So going forward, don't just throw words at people. Make sure that you actually communicate with them. If you understood that, please let me know in the chat, and then I'll move on to the next point, which is leaving your audience in the dark. This is very similar to the point on feedback, but this is a bit more specific. And what I put down with regards to this particular point is that you need to establish ground rules and remind people constantly. See, it's not just your audience. If you were in their shoes, you would do the same thing. Whenever someone stands in front of us to present a talk, a speech, whatever, our minds are struggling to stay in one place. Even right now, as you're listening to this, you're thinking, I still have to do this, I still have to do that. Oh, have I done this? Your mind is, you're struggling. Should I leave this chat? Should I leave this YouTube live and go and do something else? Your mind is in a million places. And so you need to make sure that if you're the one speaking to the people, you need to establish what you want from them, what your expectations are, and remind them constantly. If you are an MC, for example, you should say something like, oh, at this event, I will be reading some speakers' bios. As I am reading out their bios, please make sure that you put your hands together whenever I mention something really, really important or something really impressive. When you say that, the minute you start doing what you have been called to do, you can give us a look at some part of the bio reading that signals to us, oh, this is the part where we clap. You see? And then we start clapping. You can even say, just do this, just make this hand movement. And then the audience gets, oh, she's told us to clap. Actually, now it's time to clap. Not that you get to the event and then you start talking to us and making demands from us when you did not prime us earlier. You just say, why are we not clapping? Why are we not doing this? Everybody sit down. No, if you tell your audience ahead, if you don't leave them in the dark, it will be easier for them to cooperate. You can even come and remind them at designated intervals. Good evening, everybody. I hope we're enjoying the program. Just to remind you again that when it gets to so and so time, this is what we're expected to do. That way, everybody is reminded and saying, oh, okay, we've been told, we've been informed, this is what we're supposed to do. If you understand these points, please, I want you to type something in the chat. Tell me anything at all, ask a question, just something to let me know that you understand this point. Just to go over that again, I said that you should not leave your audience in the dark. Say what you want to see. And let me quickly chip this in. In the case of a language barrier, this is also very important. In some places, in fact, it is considered unprofessional to throw in a foreign language in the midst of a conversation without proper interpretation. So if I'm speaking to everybody and I'm saying, in this country where everybody wants to japa, it would be unfair on the non-Nigerians in their midst who don't understand our Nigerian slang to just say Jakba, what's Jakba? Because to them, not everybody understands it. It's gradually becoming a universal slang, but not everybody understands it. Oh my God, Sister Bolu Atife, thank you so much for coming. Good evening, ma. So when you are speaking to people, do not leave them in the dark. If you say something, try to interpret it immediately or almost immediately so that everybody can be carried along. All right. I think that deserves a round of applause, actually. Okay, the very next mistake that I want to address on the stage is not reading the room. Not reading the room. Now, this is mostly evident when there is an awkward moment. And I have to give you grace because awkward moments are a general thing. It can happen to anybody. Something may just happen unexpectedly. Something may not go as planned. Hey, Bukola, good evening. Thank you so much for coming. Something may not go as planned. Something may not happen, the way you intended for it to go. You may call up a speaker and then find out that they are not around. You may want to do something and then you get a signal that, this is not happening at this time. You may want to present something and then the lights go out. But there is a way to deal with the awkward moment. There is a way to interpret whatever is going on at that time and turn it around in your favor. I was at this event where a speaker came up and just as he was about to begin his talk, the lights went out. And so the speaker in that moment taught us a short and beautiful song and we kept singing it until power came on and then he started his talk. I find that very brilliant actually because in that moment it was not boring, it was not awkward, we were not looking at each other like, okay, now what are we going to do? Are we supposed to stand up and go? All those awkward moments. For you, it might not be a song. For you, it might be a game. For you, it might be questions and answers. Whatever it is, make sure that you fill up those awkward moments with something purposeful, with something meaningful, so that it does not make your whole event look weird in a sense. If you understand it, please put it in the chat. I'm happy to explain again if you have any difficulty understanding any of these things that I have mentioned. So please make sure that you fill up the awkward moments. You can tell a joke, you can ask people questions, you can use that moment to talk about other things that are not included in your speech. Whatever it is, make sure that you use that time wisely. All right, so another mistake that, and this one is very important, guys. Everything is important, but this one is just, I think I can spend extra time talking about it. And this mistake is not learning from others, not watching other people's work. The best way to be good at anything, apart from practice, is to also have someone that you look up to and learn from them. There is nothing new under the sun. You just have to take something and refurbish it, add your own uniqueness to the work. Whenever I have a presentation or I have to speak on a topic, I go and check what have other people said about this thing. How did other people present it? There's a way to talk about certain things. There's a way that you can talk about faith, for example. If you're preaching, there's a way you can do it. There's a way you can talk about business and finance. There's a way you can talk about marriage. There's a way you can talk about crypto. There's a way you can talk about public speaking like I am doing right now. If you just go into it without any preparation, If you encounter difficulties, you are on your own. Nobody to help you, nobody to sort you out, nobody to assist you. You don't even have the wisdom of others to back you up. So watch other people's work, especially if you're a professional speaker. You're an MC, you're a presenter, you're a public speaker, you're an on-air personality, you're a content creator. You cannot do it alone. Watch other people's work. I remember back in the day when I would, and this was before I even knew that I was going to have a YouTube channel. It's so funny. But I always enjoyed watching commencement speeches, interviews, conversations among some of the greatest public speakers that I knew then. People like Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, even Pastor Sam Adeyemi. I would listen to many of his talks over and over and over again, his teachings. I would observe, and sometimes even the video does it better, not just the audio. You look at their movement, you look at their behavior, you look at the way they speak, even the tone, the cadence, the rhythm, all of those details, it adds to the quality of your presentation. Another person I followed a lot, John C. Maxwell. Every time I'm watching his video, I'm saying, how does this man speak with so much authority? I mean, he's an old man. He doesn't have so much energy to move around and do all of that. But as he's speaking, everything is hitting the right spot. So watch these people, learn from them. You can even ask questions if you're privileged to be in their community and you have, opportunities to interact with them. Your questions will even make sense because now you've done your research. Now you know what to do. So your questions will be more direct. Did you understand that? Please, if you understood that, give me a thumbs up in the chat. We're not making that mistake anymore. The next mistake that we're going to be addressing, and this is similar to the one that I just finished talking about, is the mistake of not rehearsing before the main day. See, I know that many of us, we feel like we can do it. It's not just to come out and talk. It's not just to come and speak. But you see, when you don't rehearse, your unpreparedness, it shows. You might try to ignore it, but your audience, we see, we know, we understand, we can pick it out. Oh, these are the potholes, these are the mistakes that this person is making, the loopholes rather. When you have a presentation, when you have to speak before people, even if it was something unplanned, even if it was something that you did not know about, you should take some time, perhaps a few minutes, to look over it, to rehearse it, to understand it. Don't let your first interaction with that be on the main stage. Make sure that you interact with the material, with your speech, with whatever it is that you want to talk about before you go out there on the stage. Let's take an example. If you are asked to read out a person's bio, for example, I like that example, let's use it. You're asked to read out a person's bio, and right from the beginning, you're already making mistakes with pronouncing their name. You can't pronounce the name of their company. You cannot pronounce the name of the awards that they won. You're stuttering. You're having difficulty pronouncing the name of the city where they come from or where they work. Everything is just, you're just having a lot of I'm sorry, rather. It's a lack of professionalism. Read it ahead. Know how to pronounce their names before you get on the stage. Do your research before it gets there. Don't pronounce brochure as brochure. Don't pronounce debris as debris. Don't make all those mistakes that will leave a taint on your pure garments. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do your research. Know how to pronounce the right words. Know how they like to be addressed. Do all the right things. Dot your I's, cross your T's. Those give you a very professional outlook. It makes your work neat. Nobody has to be asking you unnecessary questions. You don't have to be apologizing for mistakes that you could have easily avoided. So please do your research and make sure that your very first performance, your very first speech is next to perfection. If you understood that again, let me know. You can type perfection. Let's use perfection. Type perfection in the chat and then I'll know that we are following. The next mistake, very, very quickly. is, and this is important, if you are presenting with a slide. So if you have a PowerPoint presentation or a PDF or whatever, and you have to, hello, Mary Olaniran, thank you so much for coming. It's good to see you. And I was saying, if you have a PowerPoint presentation or you have something to, display for the audience, the very important thing that you need to do is to, first of all, your rehearse, of course, I've mentioned that earlier, but you also have to get a backup plan. Anything can happen. And this is not only for those who are presenting, by the way. You need to have a backup plan. It's possible that the slide does not show on the screen the minute you come up. Take your phone with you and get your presentation. Start interacting with your audience. Let the IT and the tech team be sorting it in the background. That's not your work. Don't now stand on the stage looking confused and saying, what am I going to do now? They don't have my slides. I don't know what to say. I prepared the slides, but there's a certain order. You can just prepare the backup on your phone and then start talking. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Have a backup. Make sure that you have a plan A, plan B, plan C, in fact, so that if things do not go according to plan, you are covered at least 60%, and then you can still salvage the situation before it gets out of hand. You can find a way to manage it. Does this make sense to anybody? Let me know if it makes sense to you. And other additional points that I'll give to that is, if you can, please buy your own pointer, buy your own remote control for your PowerPoint presentation, for your slides. This is a relative mistake anyway. I cannot call it an absolute mistake. It's not something that I would impose or advise everybody to do or to get. But if you can, please buy your own pointer, buy your own remote, so that you don't have to be saying next slide, next slide, next slide. Anything can happen. The person behind the control can forget to press on the next slide. It can happen, honestly. There could be a problem at the tech team. Sometimes you may even want to go to a previous slide in order to emphasize a previously mentioned point. And then you're saying previous slide, oh no, not that one, the one before that one. No, leave it there, don't move it. It's a relative mistake, like I said, but as someone who is very, very I don't want to say perfectionist. I'm avoiding that word because really I don't think it's a flex, honestly. But as someone who is very intentional, wants the best outlook for our work, I would rather invest money in getting a pointer. Now, if you're a tech bro and you think that this does not always work, please let me know. Tell us in the comments. If you think that getting one pointer does not work for all the projectors, let's know now so that we will not spend our money on it. But honestly, I really think that it should work. You can even talk to the media team before you get on stage. Do you have a pointer? I would like to be the one to control my slides. I would like to navigate it by myself. If you notice on the TED Talks now, I'm not saying TEDx, I'm saying the TED Talks, for many of them, the speakers, apart from the microphones that they have on, there's usually a remote in their hands. And as they are talking, they are the ones controlling it. They are the ones pressing it. They are the ones saying, okay, they're not saying next slide, but they're saying it by clicking on it. Hi, Glorious. Hi, Jesu Pelumi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So, is that clear? Did you understand that? We have to move on very, very quickly. Another mistake that speakers make is to overshoot your time without getting permission. This thing is not a flex. I don't think it is something to laugh about. It's not funny. Why would they give you 45 minutes to speak and then you end up using 1 hour, 30 minutes? And you're saying, please excuse me, I'll soon be done. Oh, I'm so sorry, I just really need to touch on this. And the organizers are looking at you like, oh my God, this person is wasting our time. This is not what we planned. But they cannot say it because, well, maybe they honor you or something. If you get to some environments, they would actually disconnect your microphone. They will turn it down, and then once you can't be heard, you have to leave there. But that's quite embarrassing, don't you think? It's quite embarrassing. So stick to the time allotted, and if you have to overshoot by any means, Seek permission from the organizers. Be sure that they are okay with it. Many of them already make provisions for extra time, to be honest, because they understand that the session can span longer than planned. But when you are now taking that for granted and then you're eating into the time that they're supposed to be using for other important things, that's so not fair. So I really think that when you're presenting, if you're given 30 minutes, prepare to use 25 minutes. And so that way you have 5 minutes extra to spare. And so on that day, if anything else happens, things that you did not plan for or whatever, you can use that time in between to accommodate for it. And then we know that sometimes things can go out of hand. So if it eventually goes out of hand, you will know that, well, it's not exactly your fault, and then you've obtained permission from your organizers. I hope we are learning tonight. I hope we are going to do better. If you will do better, type it in the chat. I will do better. I will do better. I will do better. We're all going to do better. I'm also telling myself all of these things as I am saying them to you. The very next mistake that I want to address. Good evening, Olani of Blessing. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. All right, next mistake I want to talk about is not being comfortable. If you're going to present, please be you. Take a deep breath. In fact, you can get a bottle of water. I have a bottle of water with me on this call. In case I get thirsty or anything, I'll just drink. Take an handkerchief. You are the type that sweats a lot. See, handkerchief. If you need a rechargeable fan around you, see, what is important is that you go out there, you speak clearly to your audience, they learn from you. The information that you want to give out is what is important. Don't let anything come in the way of that. Be comfortable. Don't try to be someone else. And this is a mistake that I see a lot with many people who are trying to speak to an audience. You come up and then you are giving us one funny accent. Those of us that know you before now, we know that you don't have an accent. So how did you suddenly develop? All right, I think we're back. The network on my side was acting up. Please let me know at what point I stopped, because I really don't want to cut any of the important things that I was saying. I was already talking about getting an handkerchief if you are sweating. So if you didn't hear that, that means that I have to go all over it again. But I'll just do that very quickly. I'm sure that I talked about accents. If not, let me quickly say that don't try to be who, and develop yourself. You can work on your pronunciation, your enunciation, your articulation. That's your responsibility. But don't try to be who you. All right, so now that the network is stable, let me continue. So I talked about being you. Be comfortable in your skin, drink water, take an handkerchief, don't be dripping in sweat, and make sure that you present what you have to say in your unique way. The very last thing, we're done already. The very last mistake that I want to talk about, and this is for those that have a presentation slide, is to make the information as simple, bite-sized, and understandable as possible. That rhymed. I wasn't even planning on that anyway, but let's continue. If you're making a slide, except it is for academic purposes, honestly, I have not figured out a way to make academic slides a little bit more interesting. I've seen samples online, but they don't totally apply to my own environment, if you understand what I'm talking about. So I'm still working on that. But if it's not an academic environment where you just have to teach people a concept, introduce something fun, make the learning interesting, make the slides engaging. Not that you have 20 things to say, you put 7 of them on the first page. And the human mind, how curious it is. Even you can tell. Sometimes you are in a gathering, the speaker is still talking about the first point, but because the whole slide is on the screen, you're already reading the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, you're even writing everything down, and you can't even hear the explanation. As much as possible, do not crowd the screen with so much information. You can use pictures, You can keep the points, maybe a slide for a point, just to make sure that people focus on what you're saying in that particular time. And it makes it even more interesting, and it makes it unforgettable too. When they go home, they remember, oh, in one of the slides there was a picture of this very huge tower, and the person was telling us, that is a leaning tower. If you put that alongside other things, they may not even have noticed it. But when you take your time to put each detail, give each detail its own slide, and then keep the information simple and understandable, then people are going to be able to follow you without trying to like chase you, on the slide. So that is that about that. I'm going to leave it here because those are the major mistakes that I have noticed, and I want us all to go out there and do better. Please, if you have learned anything at all, just type it in the chat. I'm not going to go over it again. No, you're the one doing the summary now. That's another mistake, by the way, not summarizing your points, because if you said a lot of things, there has to be a way for people to remember, so you can take that as a bonus point. I'm very nice like that. Make sure that you leave room for summary. Go over your points again in the most simple way, so that if they don't remember anything, they can remember that conclusion. So I'm done. Oh, you can clap for me, you can congratulate me, but I want you to drop something that you learned in the chat. If you did not hear anything, the one you heard, drop it. By the time others are dropping their own too, you'll be able to say, oh, okay, so she has talked about this, okay, she has talked about this. Also, if you have something important to add, a mistake that you have noticed that a lot of speakers make, please make sure that you also talk about it. Let's address it. We never can tell. It can be something helpful for somebody. Some people have presentations this week. Some people are going to work on their content creation. Some people work in places where they have to constantly express their ideas, express what they are working on to their team members. Also, this is the time to ask questions. So questions. If you have something to ask me, if you have something you want to clarify, please go ahead and ask away. I'll give us 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll wrap up this live session. Let me begin to say thank you to everyone for joining. Before we go, I want to remind you that I have 2 resources on this channel for public speaking. I have 2 major resources. The first one is a video on my page. So if you click on this channel, type public speaking, you should see the 2. But please keep your lessons and your questions coming. Keep typing them. Thank you so much. I want us to recap together. So you can go over my video on public speaking simplified. Also, I have a live session, and this one I am proud of it every time, every day, because I was so privileged to have one of the most brilliant public speaking coaches that I know. His name is Ivan Ruiz, the author of the book End Boring. And in that live session, it was a live session like this as well. Ivan and I spoke a lot about public speaking, addressing your personal challenges. We even talked about some challenges, like someone asked a question, the person deals with a stutter, the person stammers, and was able to answer. So please, if you need more information on this subject, I have those resources on my channel. Check it out. The one with Yvonne, that's on the live session. So on the live tab, that's where you see it. And then in the videos, that's where you see the second one about public speaking too. I make sure that I pour my heart into all of these things because I'm committed to ensuring that people get enlightened, people get empowered with all of these things. We want to go out there and do great things. We will be many. So make sure that at least in the area of speaking and communication, check, I've done that one and it is sorted. Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions, but please recap. Thank you so much. I have seen 2 comments already. I learned to keep to time. Yes, I learned to have a backup plan. Solid. Thank you so much, guys. This is also a good time to tell you about my consultation plan. I have a page where, okay, I'm not sure if I can type that in the chat right now. I'm not sure. I do not see the icon for that. But I think I have some of you. You are aware of my consultation plan. So if you have the link, please, you can type it. Be a good Samaritan. Yes, that's the word. Be a good Samaritan and type it. It is https dot double forward slash seller.com slash chat with Temi. Seller selar.com/chat with TEMI. That is the link. Make sure that you go there and book a session. If you would like to have a one-on-one session with me, it's 1 hour complete. We're going to be talking together virtually. I'm going to be listening to you if you have questions. I'm going to give you personalized solutions one-on-one. I'm going to share my insights. I'm going to share my experiences. And based on your level of motivation and willingness to comply as well, I'm willing to go the extra mile and give you resources and provide some sort of guidance for those who are ready to take action on their goals as well. So you see, more than enough resources. This is also a good time for me to include that I would like you to give me your feedback. Let me know if you have other topics that you want me to cover in my subsequent live sessions. I'm trusting God to do this more frequently. If you observe, this is usually not the format that we use. There are subtle changes here and there. It's not very easy for me, honestly, but I said I'm not going to prioritize perfection over, consistency. I want to make sure that I show up. That's what matters, and I do it in a good way. So if you have other topics, you can drop it now in the chat box. I would love to see it. You can drop it later if you're watching this replay. I'll try to keep it up. Please ensure that you suggest what other topics do you want me to cover. I am dynamic, unique, and outstanding. So there is no need to keep me in one cage and say she cannot go beyond this topic. If I don't know it, I will bring a thought leader on that topic and we're going to talk together. That is the aim of this community, to ensure that we learn, to ensure that we grow. So that's what I will do. If I cannot talk about it, I will bring somebody who can talk about it. But thank you so much for showing up tonight, guys. Woo! We have had a very wonderful session together. I am so delighted, so delighted to see you in the room with me. Shout out to those of you who dropped your comments. You are the real MVPs, the one making this thing a lot more interesting. I hope that soon, not very far from now, we will have another chat with Temiloluwa live session. As usual, it's going to be full of enlightenment and empowerment. Thank you so much. I love you. I celebrate you. Go out there and do big things. Go out there and be a better speaker. Go out there and be an excellent presenter. Have a wonderful night rest. God bless you. Bye. Bye.